Hello dear students, welcome to EduHunt video lecture series, and this is Lata Krishna from biology side. Let's see, under food resources we have seen autotrophs and heterotrophs, and the sources of food for heterotrophic organisms. Plants act as one of the sources, and the carnivores eat animals, and even omnivores eat both the plant material as well as the animals. For their nutritional needs, humans, they cultivate crops, and for their better productivity, for their good results in the form of yield, they use fertilizers. Chemical fertilizers, they have an adverse effect on the environment. Organic farming is a better way of cultivation in the recent years. It is gaining importance and drawing attention of the people because of its eco-friendly nature. Let's see what are the various methods used in organic farming. Green manuring. Green manuring is the practice of growing plants and using those green plants as a manure or as a fertilizer is known as green manuring. It includes growing or turning or ploughing. First, they grow the crops, they grow the plants in a field, in a specific area, and then after reaching the certain period, they plough all the plants and mix the green crops with the soil to improve the fertility, and they alter the structure of the soil. Green manures may include both leguminous, that is pulses, and also non-leguminous plants. As we said that there is an association between some nitrogen fixing bacteria and the legume root nodules, legume roots. They have an association, that is symbiotic association between these legume roots as well as the bacteria, soil bacteria. There is an association. Because of that association, the bacteria fix the atmospheric nitrogen. It is helpful for the plant to grow properly. In the same way, in turn, as a part of return gift, it provides food to the bacterium. So the leguminous crops, if we grow the leguminous crops and if we dig the plants and take out the plants and plough the same plants for the soil, for mineral cycling and for improvement of the soil fertility, it could be better way to alter the structure of the soil and improve the soil fertility. And let's see fertilizers. Fertilizers are the substances which are given to the soil. Sometimes they are given to the plants. They are spray. They are in the form of, sometimes they are in the form of liquids. If they are in liquid form, they are applied on the plants like foliar spray. If they are in powder form, they will apply to the soil. So they may be the substances. Commercially they are in chemical forms. That is why they are, sometimes they may accumulate in the soil. If they wash out, when they join the water bodies, they are harmful to the aquatic organisms. That is why they have some negative role in economic or environmental balance. And they are made up of inorganic or organic compounds. And the chemical substances which can be used as a fertilizer must have the following characters. These are the characteristics of a chemical fertilizer. It should be soluble in water. If it is soluble, the plants can easily absorb through their roots. They should be easily assimilated by the plants. They should be absorbed. First thing is absorption and then integration in the body. It should be fairly stable. It should not be converted into some other form which may cause damage to the plant. It should not be injurious to the plant as mentioned. It should not disturb pH of the soil. It should not alter the soil's pH. It should be very cheap so that the person who are doing cultivation may be easily done because they are available easily and they are cheaper. Fertilizers are classified according to the elements nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, like that. Nitrogenous fertilizers if they present, if they contain nitrogen, phosphatic fertilizers if they contain phosphorus in them, and potash they contain potassium. NPK fertilizers, the combination of all these three. Nitrogen fertilizers. The important nitrogenous compounds used as fertilizers are ammonium sulfate. As ammonium sulfate consists of nitrogen, it supplies nitrogen to the soil. Calcium cyanamide, it gives calcium in a little quantity but nitrogen as a major fertilizer. Calcium ammonium nitrate, nitrogen is the major one. Basic calcium nitrate, nitrate is the major fertilizer. And urea, the formula of urea is NH2CO NH2, in that nitrogen is there, so it supplies nitrogen to the crop. Phosphatic fertilizers, the minerals of phosphorus such as phosphate, calcium phosphate and aptire, the formula of aptire, and these are quite sparingly soluble in water. They are sparingly, that means they are insoluble in water and thus do not serve as source of phosphorus for plants. When these are converted into some soluble materials, soluble forms, then only they act as good fertilizers. If they are soluble in water, they can be easily taken up by the plants. And calcium superphosphate, nitrogen phosphate, triple phosphate, or all these are the phosphatic fertilizers. They supply phosphate to the plants, phosphorus to the plants, phosphatic slag also. And then potash fertilizers, the major component is potassium. Potassium nitrate, potassium chloride and potassium sulfate are the examples of potash fertilizers. And combination of nitrogen, phosphorus and potash give the fertilizer NPK fertilizer. Fertilizers contain nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, and they are combined, they are obtained by mixing various nitrogenous, phosphatic and potash fertilizers in suitable proportions, in different proportions. Nutrients. What are nutrients? The food required by the plants to perform their basic functions are known as nutrients. These are in the form of certain elements which are known as nutrients. Importance of these elements. How can we categorize that element is essential or not essential? What is the criteria behind the classification of these elements? One is in the absence of that particular element, it should not be able to complete its life cycle, and the deficiency of the particular element can lead to some disorder, or in the form of disease it should exhibit the deficiency. It should show some symptoms. The element must have a direct influence on the plant metabolism and nutrition. So these are the three criteria based on which the elements are classified into essential elements and non-essential elements. Classification of nutrients based on the requirement, how much quantity they are required. Based on this quantity, they were classified into macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients, they are required by the plants in larger quantities. Example, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium and sulfur. Micronutrients, these are required by the plants in smaller quantities. Macronutrients, it is nothing but don't get confused between macro and micro. Macronutrients ante ekkuva kavali, micronutrients ante takkuva quantity kavali. అంతేగాని ఇది ఎక్కువ అవసరం తక్కువ అవసరం, ఇది ఉంటే పని జరుగుద్ది ఇది లేకపోయినా పని జరుగుతుంది అని కాదు. బోత్ ఆర్ ఈక్వల్లీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. దే షుడ్ బి సప్లైడ్ టు ద ప్లాంట్స్ ఫర్ దేర్ నార్మల్ గ్రోత్, ఫర్ దేర్ activities. Micro elements example iron, magnesium, boron, zinc, copper, molybdenum, chlorine. Improving crop yields. How to improve the crop yields? The major group of activity for improving crop yields are classified as crop variety improvement by improving the varieties, crop production improvement, that is improving in the yield, crop protection management by protecting diseases. Crop should be protected by diseases, protected from diseases. Otherwise, if it prone to some sort of diseases, it would not give the yield in a proper way. Crop variety improvement. Under crop variety improvement, plant breeders or the scientists try to improve the production of number of varieties with higher qualities, with which yield high produce. If a crop variety has inferior characters like susceptibility to disease, low responsive to fertilizers and least adaptability, then it should not, the crop should not be taken into consideration. It should be improved. It should not be susceptible to diseases. If it is susceptible to a disease, it will die without giving the product. And low responsiveness to the fertilizers and irrigation. It should not be like that. It should respond to the fertilizer. Otherwise, if the body responds to the medicine, then only the doctor will suggest that medicine. If the body does not respond to a particular medicine, why should he suggest that? So that is the reason. If the body, if the plant is unresponsive to the fertilizer or irrigation, what is there? So that is why it should be responsive to the fertilizers and even to the irrigation. నీళ్ళు వేస్తే crop పంట బాగా పండాలి. Least adaptability, then the existing variety. Least adaptability to the existing variety. And these are not taken into consideration. Incorporation of new genes. By incorporating the desired genes in the crop, scientists are always trying to get more good results from the crops. These characters include resistant to disease. Particular crop must be resistant to diseases and pests. Pests should not attack the plant. Responsive to various inputs like irrigation, fertilizers, etc. And resistant to drought and frost, that is abiotic stress. The plant must be able to tolerate the abiotic stresses like frost, temperature, and better quality. It should yield better quality products and higher yield. Quality wise it should be better and the quantity wise also be better in nature. Then mixed farming. Mixed farming is nothing but a tract of land meant for the production of crops and livestock or poultry. In the same field, both the livestock for poultry and the crop production and the cultivation, all these done on the same land. This is called mixed cropping. The combination of the systems of producing crops and maintaining benefits from both the systems like livestock. ఇప్పుడు cattle ఉంది, cattle నుంచి వచ్చే ఆ డంగ్ని ఎరువుగా క్రాప్కి యూజ్ చేస్తారు. క్రాప్ నుంచి వచ్చే ప్రాడ్యూస్, ఇప్పుడు రైస్ ఉంది, రైస్ ఫీల్డ్లో గ్రెయిన్స్ని తీసి మిల్క్ ఇస్తారు. అండ్ రిమైనింగ్ లెఫ్ట్ ఓవర్ క్రాప్ ఉంటుంది కదా, దట్ గ్రాస్ will be fed to the cattle. In that way it is useful. It is called mixed farming. Some important mixed farming systems are food fodder farming system, agroforestry system, hortipastoral system. ఫుడ్ ఫాడర్ సిస్టమ్ చూస్తే దీనిలో వీట్, మెయిజ్, రైస్ ఇవన్నీ కలిపి ఫార్మింగ్లో అన్నీ కలిపి పండిస్తూ ఉంటారు ఒకదాని తర్వాత. అండ్ అగ్రోఫారెస్ట్రీ, దీనిలో ఏం చేస్తారంటే పెద్ద పెద్ద ట్రీస్ని దిస్ సిస్టమ్ ఇంక్లూడ్స్ మిక్స్డ్ ఫార్మింగ్ ఆఫ్ డిజైర్డ్ క్రాప్స్ విత్ ట్రీస్. ట్రీస్ రెండు కలిపి మిక్స్డ్ ఫార్మింగ్ చేస్తూ ఉంటారు. హార్టిపాస్టరల్ సిస్టమ్, దిస్ సిస్టమ్ ఫాడర్ గ్రాసెస్ అంటే పశువుల కోసం వాడేవి, గ్రోన్ అలాంగ్ విత్ ద ఫ్రూట్ ట్రీస్తో పాటు పశుగ్రాసాన్ని కూడా పెంచుతూ ఉంటారు. విత్ దిస్ ఐ హ్యావ్ ఫినిష్డ్ మై సబ్జెక్ట్ అండ్ I hope you have understood the topic. In this session we have discussed about various nutrients that are required for the plants, like macronutrients, micronutrients. They are categorized based on their requirement, that is need, how they are required and how much amount of fertilizers are required, how much amount of nutrients are required, and also the categorization of the minerals according to their requirement, and also what happens if a disease prone plant is planted, crop is taken into consideration. So how to improve a crop yield and all these things we have discussed. In the next session we will be looking into some other details of mixed cropping and other cropping systems. Thank you.